Well, I want to welcome
Mhm.
everybody here this evening to Power Hour podcast. I hope everybody is doing amazing. I want to give a shout out to my co-host, Miss Lisa Griggs. You're coming to us from Las Vegas. And also want to give another shout out to our other co-host, Miss Renee Rand. She's not with us here tonight, but our thoughts and prayers are with her. While she's recuperating a little bit. So, you know what? This week, we open our hearts to an important and often overlooked conversation, mental health and suicide awareness during menopause. Could be at any time as well, but we want to focus a little on menopause. For too many women, the physical changes of perimenopause and menopause, they're compounded by depression, anxiety, and even suicidal thoughts. This is not a subject to whisper about. It's one that deserves to be spoken with honesty, compassion, and courage. And in recognition of Suicide Prevention Month, we are committed to shining a light on this serious issue. So, reducing stigma and offering resources, community, and hope. Once again, we are honored to welcome back Mr. Robert Ferguson, renowned nutritionist, best-selling author, NAACP Image Award nominee, creator of Diet Free Life. Robert has dedicated his life to helping people just live a healthier life, fuller lives. And he brings both expertise and empathy to this critical conversation. I want to, make sure that we get out there. Robert has also done amazing article on reducing suicidal thoughts by 50%. So you know what? I want to, just join us for what promises to be a meaningful dialogue and bring your questions, your stories, and your open heart. Together, we can create change and remind women everywhere that they're not alone, And I know Miss Lisa Griggs, I know this is close to your heart as well. If you could share a few words on that.
Yeah, I think it's interesting how this just coincided with us talking about mental health, having Robert back on this show. Obviously, Robert, you have an amazing background just with what you've done in health and wellness, but then also this whole psychology piece of you having a master's in psychology. I think the mood needs to be elevated just a little bit. So before we get before just to try to help everyone, because this is such a heavy subject, it really is. I can just feel the angst of us having to even have a conversation around this. But last week I was actually looking up some statistics and I was really shocked because I was in Tanzania and I just by chance was like, you know what, let me look up some statistics about suicide rates in Tanzania versus suicide rates in our country, the USA.
Hmm.
And I was just blown away. And I think that that's what kind of, is going to, we'll talk about that. But I want to do one thing really quick. Robert, our favorite nutritionist, we got you a gift. All the ladies at Power Hour, we just wanted to thank you for just all that you're doing to pour into this community here, to all these ladies. Where this Power Hour is like our baby. It's our safe space. It's our community to help women so that they feel like they can have conversation and dialogue around menopause and just all things health and wellness. And that's why we're talking about suicide today. But we got you a gift. We all got together. We got you a gift and we want to show it to you. And so it's from your Power Hour community. It's your Tanzanian jersey. Or what do you call it?
Jersey.
Your jersey. Your Tanzanian jersey. So there it is, and it's for you, and we'll make sure that we get it in the mail to you and all that good stuff, right?
Wow.
So yay.
No,
Yeah.
that's really cool. I love the colors.
Yeah, it's very, very cool. And so we
Wow.
hope that you wear it in good health.
Well,
And
thank you.
and we love you for all that you're doing for all the women that are in this community and in the world, and just all the things that you bring and just all your knowledge and your time, which is so valuable. So thank you from all of us at Power Hour.
Well, thank you very much. And you well, I would love to go on and on about how much I appreciate the gift and the kind words. Um but it is a somber kind of show. So I'm gonna do my best to come out of it. And a little background is I know some people very close to me in my life that committed suicide.
Mm.
And it's interesting, as I was running around and getting ready to come on and have this talk, my mind went right back to those people that I had they were very close to me. And it's, this is a very serious topic. And there's people who are in need of some serious therapy. I mean, I have 3 coaches that I've trained to teach nutrition, etc., that have lost a parent to suicide. And trust me, it's with them every day. So I would tell anyone who's listening in, because we all have those moments of doubt and frustration that could take us there as far as depression or mental challenges around health, is think about everybody else. I mean, for one moment, because spending time with people who have lost people, it's tough.
Yeah.
But then you said something earlier, if you don't mind, Lisa, before I kind of walk you guys through some things I believe can help people as it pertains to mental health. You mentioned what you looked up as far as the people over in Tanzania and the United States. Do you mind if we go there first with those stats? I'm very intrigued to
100%.
hear.
Yeah. Well, I was shocked that in Tanzania, suicide is actually illegal. It's actually a law, where if you attempt suicide and you're not successful, you know, you can go to jail. So that's the first thing that I thought was kind of interesting, is that suicide is actually illegal, attempted suicide. So the statistics for suicide in Tanzania are very, very low. They're less than 5%, like, of the whole nation. And just in Dar es Salaam, you have 8 million people in that city, right? That's very, very small. So, or 9 million, something like that. You know, it's much like Cairo. And so just knowing that in comparison to how they live, it was really shocking to me, because when I looked up the statistics in the US, it's like quadruple the amount. It's like way, way higher. And quadruple the amount, like over 20%. And then I started looking into, oh my gosh, okay, so why is that? It's because of this epidemic of depression. And I know that, Robert, you had asked me before in a conversation, do I know anybody that's on antidepressants? And I said, no, I don't. But maybe there are women around me and men around me that are on antidepressants, and they just don't tell me. You know, it's a very taboo subject. Maybe there's a lot of shame around having the conversation with regard to being depressed, being suicidal. A lot of men struggle with shame and guilt. You know, that's a very kind of like broad, heavy, general statement. But I think that knowing that, and I also thought some of these other statistics, I'll just read some of them out before you come on here, but about 8 to 3% of US adults had at least one major depressive episode. Among females, it was 10.3%, and among males, it's 6.2%. Also, females statistically, they basically are more suicidal, but men actually have a higher rate of suicide. So women actually try it more, but men are actually kind of succumb to that more.
So are you saying that the men follow through?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, they do. Yeah.
Okay.
And I know we're trying to lighten the mood, but yes.
Yes.
Pretty much so.
Okay.
In the 12 to 19 age group, the rate of females was very high, around 26.5% and 12.2% in males. That was shocking to me. I'm going to read that statistic again. It actually gives me chills all over my body and makes me want to have a breakdown right now and start crying. In the 12 to 19-year-old age group, 12 to 19-year-old age group, okay? The rate in females was very high, around 26.5% versus 12.2% in males. actually, it is the highest age group for suicide in the US, just so you know, is that like to 20s, right? Like that 20s range. Also, 1/3 of women, according to Gallup poll, report having been diagnosed with depression at some point in their lives. 36.7% of women have said that they have tried to attempt suicide, less than 20% in men. And I'm going to finish up with this. Female suicide has been rising. Okay. In 2002, about 4.2 per 100,000, rose to 6.0 by 2015. It dipped a little bit, it says, in 2022, but now it has overall increased. So we're seeing an increase in suicide. So it's a very real subject to talk about. So with all that said, with all those statistics said, and Robert, only 5% of the entire world's population was born in the US. And yet we have one of the highest rates of suicide and the highest rates of depression and more people on medication. And that's not happening in Tanzania. And Tanzania, the gross GDP, let me remind everybody, okay? And maybe this is what I'm not able to wrap my mind around. So I'm hoping, Robert, you can extrapolate and get us all on the same page today. Their gross GDP is equivalent to one of our corporations, like a Target or an Apple, or Cisco or something like that. So, we're talking about $79 billion. Yeah. So with all of that said, Robert, and I know it's a lot, what say you?
Well, here's my disclaimer. I do have a master's in counseling psychology. I do work with quite a few people in the mental health space. I'm a nutritionist, and I'm in the space of helping people with a food as medicine approach. And I'm saying that right now, just to set the stage for those who are here or catch the replay, and where the recommendations and the things I'm going to share are coming from is, in my world, when you are a nutritionist, you're working with people that deal with cancer. They're dealing with cancer. I'm working with people who are dealing with suicidal thoughts. I'm working with professional athletes. I'm working with people who just got divorced. You're working with all types of people, parents of kids with ADHD, parents of kids who are autistic. Sometimes you're working with an autistic kid. So nutrition is the one thing that we all, that connects to everything. Right. And unfortunately, in the United States of America and Canada, let me throw that in there, we don't spend enough time really looking at the reality that nutrition is medicine. Right. And if you learn how to eat in a way where you can optimize all health, physical health, mental health, etc., then you can optimize, you can maximize life. Okay. So all of that being said, I'm going to share some things with some people, and I would recommend everyone on here, if we got to, get Gene to edit this down so that people can get the nuggets. Anyone who's dealing with mental health issues will benefit from what we're about to share with them. And this is not about selling a product. Mm-hmm. This is all about the truth. Okay. So I'm going to start with something that's very popular in the United States that plays a huge role in why we have those numbers that you mentioned, Lisa, as far as mental health and suicidal thoughts. And that's culture. Mm-hmm. That's social media. That's I want what you got. That's comparisons. That's wanting to look a certain way, even though that's not who you are. Mm-hmm. So you have a lot of that. But the thing that we can talk about that everybody can use today, whether you're that person or not, is nutrition. Mm-hmm. And sometimes we set ourselves up for mental health issues. So let me ask you guys, what is the most popular weight loss drug right now in the United States of America?
Ozempic.
Ozempic, GLP-1 drugs, and GIP. You'll start to hear people bring up GIP. which is so funny because someone did that the other day when I made a comment about GLP-1. Well, GIP is this. I go, dude, do you really want to go there? Right. So they live in the same gastrointestinal tract. They're very similar. So you will have some people start to come up with another name that throw people off. But here's the deal. If you're on a GLP-1 drug, GLP-1 agonist, that's Wegovy, Ozempic, Mounjaro, Zepbound, the list goes on and on. There's a whole bunch of them keep coming out. You increase your risk of major depression by 195%.
Wow.
195% when you get on those drugs. Anxiety is increased by 108%. And suicidal behavior is increased by 106%. Just getting on the drug. Just think, just really hang on to that. And this is not my opinion. These are statistical facts. So part of why I believe that's happening is based on malnourishment. As we get ready to talk about the importance of omega-3 fatty acids in the brain, called DHA, when you have low levels of that, you have increased risk of depression, anxiety, suicidal thoughts, aggressive behavior, because you don't have enough of the nutrient in your brain. So now, let's not take our opinion. So I put together some facts. Okay. Like, hey, let's do one at a time. Are you ready?
Yep.
Are you ready?
Yep, we ready.
Okay, first topic is suicide and suicidal thoughts. In the military, they have done a lot of studies on this, because if you look into the military, or even if you look into the law enforcement officers, you see a significant increase in suicidal thoughts as well as suicide. And what they discovered by drawing blood out of military people who had died, and out of 1,600 military people who had died as a result of suicide, they noticed they all had low levels of DHA, which is omega-3. All of them. And when they would test people, and then you follow them over a long period of time, you have a 62% greater risk of suicide if you have low levels of omega-3. You can't make this up. Okay, and this is Dr. Joseph Hibbelin, who's been doing this for years. Then when you look at population and clinical evidence, people who have low omega-3 status, that's linked to more suicidal and major depression. And people with less omega-3 in their blood, they tend to have more serious sad thoughts, including thoughts about self-harm.
Yeah.
When you look at data, or you'll hear words or terms like statistically significant, 60-something% is significant. So that means all the people that you guys have met or know about, there's a very good chance, if we were to bet, the ones who committed suicide or were successful with killing themselves had low levels of DHA in the brain. I mean, it gets really interesting. So as we move into aggression and poor behavior, they did another study, what they call meta-analysis, where they look at randomized placebo-controlled trials, which is the gold standard. And what we know is that when you have low levels of omega-3, you have increased aggression. That means guys who are hitting their wives, maybe women who are like showing really poor behavior, all of that is linked directly to not having enough omega-3 in the brain. And here's what we all know, but people who are here for the first time are hearing it for the first time. 99.8% of everybody walking around in the United States have insufficient levels of omega-3 in their brain. Right now, even the ones who think they're healthy, and they may look the part. You know what I mean? Like what is going on here? And nobody's talking about it.
Yeah.
But if someone goes and looks up what we're talking about, they'll see the data is very clear.
Mhm.
When they look at children, I'm looking at a study right now where they looked at kids for over 6 months who had behavioral problems. All of them, not 99%, not 42%, all had low levels of omega-3. And when they increased their omega-3s, they saw significant improvements with their behavior.
Mm.
So how many, think of all the parents who have a kid, they go, oh, I'm gonna blame it on ADHD. Oh, he's, I think, autistic. Well, you know, when I was a kid, we ran around and we acted like that. Think of all the parents who loosely have no clue because the pediatrician has no clue.
Mm-mm.
Mhm.
Their doctor has no clue. And when I say that, I'm saying with love and grace, you guys, because a lot of those doctors end up becoming clients of mine. And because I'm in the healthcare space, I meet doctors all the time. And trust me, everyone on this call and all of you guys, friends who are health conscious, for the most part, and I'm not being mean, know more about nutrition and health than the most physicians that I do work with.
Yep.
Okay, most. I didn't say all. So nobody can get mad at me. Then there was this one study, Lisa, Jean, and Veronica. This one was like mind blowing because they didn't do the study once, they did it multiple times. So once you do a study multiple times, that's called validated, verified, and reproducible. That's like science. That means that this is going to, it's like gravity, right? I grab my tea, and if I let go of this teacup, coffee cup in the morning, right? It's going to drop straight down because of gravity. It's called Newton's law. That's
Right.
science, right? So they did these studies with prisoners,
Yep.
and not like 5 prisoners, but like thousands. And what they did is what some of them have, they gave them omega-3s, and the other group got a placebo, which was like a water pill. At the end of 1 year, the group that got the omega-3s, which means they had it in their brain, they saw a reduction in poor behavior by 37%. They've even done studies on recidivism where, you know, you look at people who end up going back to prison after they get out. There's a significant reduction of going back to prison. So you have better behavior if you have enough omega-3s in your brain.
Unbelievable.
I mean, this is crazy. And then they looked at a group where they would give them vitamins and minerals and like multivitamins. The
Mhm.
ones who had the omega-3s obviously had way better outcomes because of this thing called cell membrane fluidity. Man, that's a game changer right there. I mean, this is crazy. You know what I mean? Like, you know how many like suicides that we could reduce just by upgrading people's nutrition?
Mhm.
Man. Then I'm looking at the studies on depression and mood. I mean, it makes me want to cry because the numbers start at 60%, right? So for many people with depression, they have noticed that if they increase their omega-3s in their brain, you basically remove that depression. It's crazy. Then we jump down to omega-6 to omega-3 balance. So for those who are new, there's a thing called omega-6 and omega-3 ratio. And omega-6 and omega-3 are what they call essential fatty acids, meaning you must consume them.
Mhm.
We live in a world where we're eating too much omega-6 fatty acids, and it gums up our cells and makes it very difficult for the cells to be able to maximize what they're able to do for us. And
Mhm.
that's not just in the body, it's also in the brain. And we're not getting enough omega-3s because of how the world has changed, how the food is grown, how the animals are fed, the fact that, you know, there's a huge population. We don't have access to fish and waters and lakes and oceans like we used to. I mean, some people do. I mean, I do where I live. I'm like very lucky.
Lucky you.
I mean, I eat a lot of trout. I eat a lot of lake trout. I eat a lot of salmon. So I'm very thankful for that. And I do eat a lot of shrimp, you know. And don't be giving me a hard time about shrimp. Now, shrimp's not very high in omega-3, but it tastes good.
It does.
Dwelling.
And I remember someone once said, "Man, you eat a lot of shrimp." I said, "Well, shit, you eat a lot of chicken." Okay. Don't make fun of my shrimp. And yesterday I actually put on Forrest Gump, me and my daughter. You guys remember Forrest Gump, the movie?
Mm-hmm.
Man, rewatch it. That is such a good movie, by the way. I mean, because there's history in there, and then we laugh, me and my daughter, so hard on Bubba Gump. Remember?
Yes.
Bubba Gump shrimp, baby. Anyway.
Yep.
Now when you look at depression, there's these ratios where you look at depressed adults, and they're doing this in Japan, Norway, and parts of Europe right now. They're doing some of these studies and research at Harvard, but in the United States, they're not. So the tests that we have that we can make available to people will give them what they call a arachidonic acid to EPA ratio.
Yes.
That is so important. Like if we got religious and had a real moment and we said we're going to pray for people, I pray that people learn about this because it is the number one biomarker for inflammation that you can get done. And we have a test that anybody can get, that inside of that test, we can actually tell a person what their ratio is.
Right.
This is like, and I know Veronica, because we've been training and you know this, but this is huge.
Yep.
If you have MS, you need to know this. Now, here's the sad part, Lisa. Their doctors don't even know it.
Yeah.
If their doctors came on and we had 20 of them for cancer, for MS, for all of these conditions, and if they gave me 5 to 6 minutes to show them the science of what I'm talking about, they couldn't push back. They would have to acknowledge it. And they would probably feel a little embarrassed, maybe. But it's the truth. We're here to advocate for the people, right? You have women who are dealing with menopause, perimenopause, postmenopause. They discovered you guys. You guys are in the field of wanting to help people and meet them where they are. And they happen to just come across this conversation that we're having. And we're talking about something that they can get answers that is not available to everybody, that could play a huge role, not just in mental health, but in overall health. I find this disturbing.
Yep.
I mean, it's alarming to me. It's mind blowing. It's like I woke up early this morning, couldn't sleep last night, working. So whenever I do that, my therapy is to write. And I wrote an article. I don't even know if the title makes sense, but it helped me because I was speaking to the fact that I can go to someone in my family and say, hey, I have something that can help you. And they'll say, let me talk to my doctor about that. And they're going to go to their doctor and do what?
Yeah.
Even though I'm convincing and I show them the data and I have people who are experiencing it, the people that we love and care about the most, sometimes they're just not receptive. And my work in psychology, I don't even have an answer for it.
Yep.
Except, and the only thing that helps me sleep at night when I think about that is the fact that Jesus
That's right.
was loved, everywhere but hometown.
That's right.
I mean, don't make me doesn't make it right. Okay, well, anyway.
Familiarity breeds contempt.
Oh my goodness. So in ending, you guys, if we want to address mental health from a nutrition standpoint and reduce the risk of suicide, improve overall behavior and how we think about life, it does help to make sure that we have a healthy brain. Our brain is made up of 50 to 60% fat. There's a whole bunch of different fats in our brain, but the one that we're talking about is called DHA, and that DHA is an omega-3, and people aren't getting enough of it. And if you do, that can help with getting you off of antidepressants. That can help with all the things that we're talking about. And I'll end with even one kid that we talk about a lot when we do certain presentations. And I think there's about 11 or 12 kids now that we've seen this happen to that are autistic.
Yeah.
This kid was autistic, nonverbal at 9 years old, could not hold a pencil. And we did his tests and we could see he wasn't getting enough omega-3s. The mom starts giving the kid the balance oil, right? We retest the kid later. He's in balance. Now he just starts talking.
Mhm.
Now he can hold a pencil, a pen, and he can color inside of the lines. And the only thing changed in his life was some time had gone by
Mm-hmm.
and he had been taking the balance oil.
Hmm.
And we've seen that now with 11 or 12 kids.
Wow.
So you tell me.
You know what? I'm going to jump in right here for a minute, because you know what? The other day I was out with sisters and friends, and I'm sitting there and, um, just enjoying the time with the friends. And I look over, and you know what? Talking saves lives. I look over and I see a woman who walked in, and all of a sudden, 10 minutes later, I mean, she's eating something, but there's tears running down her face. And I was like, oh my God. I'm the type of person that always goes to someone, where, you just go towards them, you gravitate towards them. I walked over, I tapped her on the shoulder. I'm like, excuse me. I'm like, are you okay? And she looked at me and I said, my name's Veronica. I said, I'm not a crazy person. I said, are you okay? And I told her, I said, I'm a retired police officer. I don't want you to feel, because I didn't want her to feel that, I was some stranger who was out after her or anything like that. I don't believe she did, but are you okay? And she turned around and says, thank you for that. I just needed an ear. I just needed someone to listen to me. Her husband passed away.
Mm.
And, I've got chills. Knowing that she had a death of a love of her life. And there are times when people want to say, I don't want to live anymore. I lost my partner, the love of my life. I don't want to be here anymore. And you know what? It's really real. And just to be that ear for this woman and just to listen to her and let her talk about her husband. And, and she told me about herself and asked if we could exchange numbers and told me how, her husband was from Puerto Rico and she made an oasis out of her home. And she was so happy and just to have that ear. You know what? I also want to add that, if you have um, uh, a an issue or suicidal thoughts, I was just going to bring this up. Thank you, Jean. You can pick up your phone and dial 988. You can text it to 741-741. Um, but even just remember, talking saves lives. Just reach out to that person. You don't know what someone's day is going to be like or, what they're going through. But if you can be that person to just lend an ear, that's one big giant step for mankind. It really is. So I want to add that.
Yeah, I love that you said that. Robert, also great information, especially about this omega-3 piece with regard to mental health and depression. Huge piece there, because I know we've discussed it before, the statistic you said of how many people are on antidepressant medication in our nation. It's just shocking to me the amount of stress that people are under on a daily basis that's causing them to go in this direction with their mood that is so hopeless. It's just, and so fear-based. I don't know, it's got me just going, wow, we need to do so much more as a community to get this information out into the hands of everyone we know. And I'm sitting here going, oh my God, Veronica, are we going to be like going live every single day, like with Robert with this information? Because the content has to keep going out and out and out and out, because as Robert, as you said, most physicians don't have this information, which is even more troubling because in
Yeah.
our country, you know, we're taught that our doctors are like, again, our safe space, and they're educated and they've been through school for 12 years or longer. And, you know, they know what they're talking about with regard to the human body. But yet there's this huge piece that, Robert, you said you weren't even aware of a couple years ago, right? Even with all of the knowledge that you have and over 30 years experience in nutrition at the highest levels. I mean, you're the cream of the crop, you're the creme de la creme in your space, and not even having this information 2 years ago, you know, and just the piece that it plays. It's, oh my goodness, we could just go on until Jesus returns about this. So I don't know. I hear all this. And of course, you know, I think most know my story, also very similar. I didn't lose a spouse, but I lost my son. And I can tell you that all that God has been speaking to me lately about my own personal loss, I'm coming up on almost a year of losing my son. The only thing right now that's helping me get through is like when I see other people experiencing loss, and obviously our nation is, you know, going through this big grieving process right now, is that the ones that have loss, it's like we're ahead of the game in the sense that because we've went through it, we can help others that are now going through it. So, yeah, lots of compassion. My hat's off to you, Robert, for sharing all this information today. This has been a lot of good information. Veronica, I don't know, any closing thoughts? Robert, closing thoughts?
I mean, closing thoughts, we're just getting started.
Oh,
Yeah. I gotta say, you know what? Check in with loved ones. You
Yeah.
know, really, how are you? Really can open the door to life-saving conversations. You know, listen without judgment, share your resources, you know, break the silence, and, you know, getting people to know about, you know, the omega 6 to 3 ratio, and, you know, getting on, this omega 3 supplement oil, the balance oil, which is amazing. Robert, your thoughts?
Well, one, to remind everybody, and if it's not a reminder, um, if we had a psychiatrist on here right now, if we had any doctor you want to think of on here right now, and I said, hey, explain to everybody how SSRIs work, antidepressants.
Yeah.
I'm sure somebody would be able to do it, but
Right.
I'm going to guess that 99% of every physician, every psychiatrist, even though they prescribe it all the time, cannot explain to you how SSRIs work.
Mhm.
See, this is where I would love it if, like on this show, bring on someone who feels confident that's maybe in that space that prescribes SSRIs. If we were talking about like antidepressants, and let's see what happens, because that's a big part of the problem
Mhm.
is that people are not doing what is necessary who are in a position to help people to give them solid guidance. So the solid guidance for everybody, whether it's about mental health, suicidal thoughts, blood pressure, like just life, is make sure you learn more about omega 6 to 3 ratio.
Yeah.
Get on the balance oil, unless you're going to eat fish twice a day, you know, most days. Definitely need to eat it every day. Snack on some sardines, and most people aren't going to do that. So this is a great example of why you want to supplement.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mhm.
it's not a supplement where there's side effects, because it's food. There's no side effects in eating salmon. There's no side effects if I have like pan fried trout later tonight. There's no side effects tomorrow if I have some, you know, stir fried shrimp. Like there, I mean, you know what I mean? Like there's no side effects to that because it's food. God made it available.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, maybe I've forgotten a few things, but it seems like everything that's in alignment with biblical principles is
Mm-hmm.
helpful for us wherever we are in life, right? What was Jesus' first miracle? Anybody know?
Wine, water into wine.
Okay, so he wanted to keep the party going.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to say the loaves and the fishes, but
Now, there's something in wine that has some serious health benefits to this day. They're called polyphenols.
yeah.
So polyphenols are known to reduce inflammation. Polyphenols play a huge role in protecting our cells. And it just so happens that that's what he did. Do they walk a lot back in the biblical days? Were they outside?
Yep.
So that means they got a good amount of vitamin D. Would that be accurate?
Yes.
Yep.
And vitamin D happens to be in the balance oil.
Yep.
They talked about fish. I mean, there's a whole bunch of analogies and a whole bunch of conversations about fish. Like when I was a vegan at one point in my life, what made me decide to go back to eating fish was the fact that Jesus, we believe he ate fish. And so I was like, well, hell, if it's good enough for Jesus, it's definitely good enough for me, right? So now I eat everything today, but I went through this phase where I was like a vegetarian, then vegan, then back to like, pesco oval vegetarian where I started eating fish again. Well, that's omega 3s. And then they always talk about olives.
Yep.
They just happen to be filled with polyphenols.
Yep.
I'm telling you, there's something magical about this balance oil.
Yep.
And I've never seen anything, and I feel like I've seen a lot.
Then they need to call it magic oil
Well, that's a
instead
good
of
idea.
balance oil.
We could call it magic.
I wonder why I'm muted. Usual talking.
What's that?
You muted.
I said I was wondering why I was usual talking and I'm muted. I'm like, how come I'm muted?
Because that's the way our podcast goes.
Yeah, we're
Oh, okay. Do you want me to
answers?
do you want me to mute myself again?
No. Do you have a question? Yeah, now unmute.
Okay. So if this is all based on science and everyone tells me we got to follow the science, how come no one's following it? Why aren't these doctors preaching it? And I know big pharma, they want to make money, blah, blah, blah. There's no money in well people. You know what I mean? So why am I just hearing this now?
Well, here's what is new. We live in a world right now where people are not completely informed about what is being shared. There's a company over in Norway that discovered this over 20 years ago.
Wow.
And when they discovered it, they patented it. And then there was this company called Zenzino that ended up buying the patent. And they came to the United States about 9-10 years ago. And I discovered this about 2 years ago. And what, Lisa mentioned earlier, that I was a little embarrassed because it's so important and so needed that I felt like being in the space for 28 years, I would have known about it. And fast forward, I was happy also that I knew about it and I could be a part of helping to spread the word. So we're at a place now where 99 point something percent of everybody that lives in the United States and Canada has no idea about it.
Yeah.
Now we do have the science of everything that we've talked about. We just never knew that there was a product that had a very high efficacy where it could literally get the omega 3s into the cell membrane, into the tissues, into the brain to get the benefits. And then there's a way to test so you're not guessing. And that's where the game changed. And if you go back in history with that, in 2004, they discovered this test. 2009, it became commercialized. 2014, it started to become out there a little bit. And here we are in 2025. So most people just don't know about it.
Vern, turn your volume down.
Me?
Yes, whatever you have on.
Hold on. I don't
So
have anything on. Jonathan, turn that down.
Now, are you guys related?
I'm Bernadette. We spoke yesterday.
Okay.
I'm her
One of
sister.
my sisters.
I was going to say, by the way, I'm Bernadette. I spoke to you. We spoke to you yesterday when I was
Okay, this
on
is
our
great.
ride to the winery. Yeah,
So
I haven't. Ronnie helped me get everything in order here with my computer, my iPad, and my phone. So,
all right.
yeah.
See, we need more people like you, Bernadette,
Yes.
right?
Okay.
And that's when the world's going to know about it,
Yep.
because you're going to look at it and see it for what it is. And then we're going to get the doctors on board because they want to be healthy too.
Yep.
And the cool part about doctors is that they're pretty smart. They have a good intelligence as far as science. My daughter is on her way to be an OBGYN, which is
Nice.
today we talked about chemistry and she got all excited about it because I could actually have that conversation with her. Which has been really fun. I'm enjoying it, and she's just getting started because I do know that we're going to be debating all the time.
Oh, that's good. You need a good debate.
Yeah, because I am not, and she's like hardcore, but she's the one that, at the same time, she has that ability to be creative and to like use critical thinking. So that would be my prayer to everybody listening. Do not put off one more day without contacting someone on this team, getting your balance test and getting your balance oil. If you knew what I knew and you chose not to get it, I would say I'm not being mean, Lisa, but I would say that they're kind of not the smartest person in the world because this is that important.
Yes.
My sister couldn't wait to stick me. Let me tell you. Just come on, let me stick you. I'm like,
get everybody on it, you guys. If you have grandkids and the parents don't want to figure out a way to get them to one of our events, we got to get everybody to understand this because the kids born today, and if we all get to live long enough, right? So Lisa has some young adult kids. I'm not sure what all your kids are, Veronica, as far as their age. Are they young adults or are they older adults? Like, I don't know.
My two are 40 and 33.
Oh my God. Okay.
I have 3 grandchildren.
All right. Well, all of our
Well,
kids, whether they're like young adults in their 40s or they're 22,
Yep.
smack them upside the head. I'm telling you, my daughters, I am on their ass. The only thing I'm on their ass about is taking balance oil.
Yeah.
Outside of that, hey, you guys do what you do. And they're like, you're overstressed. You're like, I'm like, oh, no, because I know what's going to happen. Because if we live long enough, low-grade chronic inflammation shows up. Where did fibromyalgia come from? Why are we seeing now the curve, as Lisa mentioned, with depression and suicide? It's curved, right? The height was going back to the depression. Now we're seeing this constant increase. Now we can blame it on culture and social media, and I'm sure that plays a huge role in it. But why is it that we're seeing all of these conditions on the rise? New conditions popping up. And then they all just happen to have a link to a deficiency or insufficiency of omega-3s.
Because you know what it is. It's our food. It's toxics. It's
Amen. Yes.
You can't even. I haven't eaten corn in so long because 13 years ago I lost my granddaughter to vaccines. She had 4 vaccines and she died the next day.
Oh,
so
Jesus.
I read and reviewed everything I could about these vaccines and what they're putting in the food. So that's when I stopped eating corn. Our GMOs, everything's being shot into our animals and the grass and the dirt, and so it's getting to the animals, and then so where do you get clean food? That's what I was talking to Ronnie the other day.
Yeah, you have to find good sources. Like a lot of people go to the Amish because
they're
the
never
Amish.
sick.
I mean, if you look at if you want to have some fun and go down a really deep rabbit hole, look at the health of the Amish.
Yeah.
They don't vaccinate their kids at all.
Mm-hmm.
And those kids, they have no problems.
We're groomed that. I remember when my oldest is 46, and she got a vaccine once every 30 days. not 4 in one leg, and then you came back, and they got one every 30 days. And then she got sick. She had a little fever, and then we went back a month or two later, and she got another vaccine. Now they're getting what?
10 at one time.
Yeah, that's what happened with our Scarlet.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, and that's playing some role in all of what we're talking about.
Yeah, and that's what 13 years ago my granddaughter passed, and that's when I started researching all this stuff.
Wow. Well, sorry that you guys went through that. I can't
Yeah,
even
it was
imagine.
horrible. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a horrible thing. Like Lisa knows, there's nothing like losing a child. But from a vaccine, I know it was from the vaccines. I know it.
Well, let me ask you guys in the rally for PowHer Hour, because it's all about empowering people. And I know the theme and the focus is on menopause, but I believe you guys can feel that you want to power some women in a whole bunch of areas of life, right? And I think you guys are like the A team that can make it happen, because
Absolutely.
they're looking for your voices. I mean, like Veronica, yeah, I've gotten the chance to really get to know you. Lisa, I've gotten the chance to know you. You guys have like this dynamic energy that I think relates to a whole bunch of people. And I look forward to seeing where you guys take all of this. And I will always be an asset wherever you can use me, because I think that this is what the world needs, is some type of format and energy like this that can make it where it's real talk and it's not just talk. There's actually like a yellow brick road that we can put people on.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
100%. I wanted to ask it's kind of a comment and ask something. I just put something together in my own thought process of critical thinking as you were talking, Robert. And it has to do with the parasympathetic nervous system, because we're talking about suicide and depression and mental health. Okay. This has been a huge kind of like rabbit hole that I went down on my own with bringing my own body into balance with regard to my parasympathetic nervous system. I'm wondering if the piece of so many people, because it kind of goes back to my beginning question, right? Why in Tanzania are people not committing suicide, right? And they are here. You know, we know how they live there. We know how we're living here in the US. So what's causing it, right? So this stress piece that's causing us to be in our sympathetic nervous system, I actually just Google searched it just out of random question. Does omega-3 play a part in bringing you into your parasympathetic nervous system? And it absolutely does.
100%.
And that's huge. Like, I was like, oh my God. To me, that is such a big piece, because everyone is in their sympathetic nervous system. They're in their fight or flight, stressed out, unbalanced place in their life in this country. And everyone's like on edge and angry and afraid and just stressed out, anxious. You know, we've got young men in their 40s just dropping like flies right now, having strokes as they pull into their parking lot of their jobs. You know, everybody is just on edge. And it's like, you can't even ask somebody a question. I was in a Starbucks today and asked this man standing in front, because he was a great distance from the other customer in front of him. I said, oh, are you standing in line, sir? Very kind, very sweet. And he just like, the way he looked was, I was like, oh my God, this man is like, something's off, like in his brain, like literally. And now I'm like listening to you, Robert, and I'm thinking, wow, you know, this is real, this connection, even with omega-3s and being able to bring you into your parasympathetic nervous system.
Okay,
I feel
so
to me that's one of the answers.
okay, well, I have a couple questions for you, right? And since I met you, you always talk about the parasympathetic
All the
nervous
time.
system.
Yeah.
And it's funny. I have a book. I gotta find it, and I was thinking about giving it to you as a gift, because it's a book that was written in, I think, 1901 or 1903, and someone gave it to me years ago. Small little book, and it has a strong yoga component to it, because, and of course martial arts, and I've been a martial artist my entire life. So being able to tap into and make sure you're in that parasympathetic nervous system, right? Where you have that autonomic nervous, you're optimizing. But then having, like you said, a lot of people are living in that fight or flight place, right? Which is a complete opposite. For you, when you look at most people, do you feel that they are stuck in their like sympathetic nervous system where they're in fight or flight all the time? Do you pick that up from people?
All the time.
Okay. Okay. Well, you know, it's interesting. So what Lisa is sharing.
I mean, like this. What I believe is that a lot of people are. Well, Veronica, I'll give you an example. Veronica and I were talking about it this morning, or not this morning, right before the show went live. And our energy output is very high.
Yeah.
So because of that, it's better for people like our personalities and how much energy output we have just by showing up in a space. In other words, Veronica and I have the type of personality we could just show up in a room, and our presence, our pre-essence brings energy without us even having to open our mouths. People like us, it's better for us to be dropped back in our parasympathetic nervous system, which is actually from our place of love, stronger, because it allows and creates space for people to be safe. And that's why we created this community almost a year ago, because we had this desire, this burning desire in us to create a safe space for women so that they could have conversation in a very loving space.
All right, so I feel you coming alive with this parasympathetic system. And for those of you who are new to that word, think of rest and digest, right? So that's the same thing. And when you are in that place of rest and digest, everything is automatic. Everything flows. And if you want everything to flow, omega-3s do play a role because it touches on your breathing, on the exchange as far as how nutrients and communication takes place on a cellular level. Now, this would be a fun conversation. That's a new show idea.
Okay. We're definitely going to be talking about this next week, Veronica.
Because it's not menopause, it's cell membrane fluid.
I just feel like we need to help our nation get there.
Yeah.
We need to get our whole nation into their parasympathetic nervous system.
Absolutely.
Amen.
I gotta say, my children are all on the balance oil. Matter of fact, I'm gathering, as you can see, two of my sisters are on the balance oil. I have a launch with Robert on October 4th. My family, half of my family will be there. But I mean, I just think that this is amazing, and the transformation of what is happening in the body from the inside out. I'm just blown away. I really am.
Hey, you guys, I'm gonna have to jump. I apologize.
Right.
I gotta jump on the call, but I wanted to say thank you. I
Yeah.
can't wait to get my
Yeah.
jersey.
Yes.
And if I ever had to go into my sympathetic nervous system and fight somebody, Bernadette, you're on my team. Cause she ain't playing around.
You know what, Robert? I would like to set up a 20-minute call where we can do the presentation, which I am waiting from you. But if we could set that up and just have that specifically just the presentation in 20 minutes, that would be amazing.
Okay. I owe you that, so I will do that.
Well, I want to thank everybody for being here on Power Hour this evening. And we are going to be here next week, Saturday, same time.
All right.
And
Goodbye. See ya.
all right, have a great day, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Thanks.
Love it.